Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is Straight Out of Boston, and today I'm back for episode number 11, I believe now, of my Boston Red Sox Out of the Park Baseball 17 series. And today we're back with the mid-season episode for 2018, so we're up to July now. And switching back to the old format, how I used to do these videos, so we're doing the mid-season videos now. Going through the trade deadline. I used to go through the draft in these, but I decided not to do it this time around. I'll show you guys who we drafted, though. I just find that it's a little time-consuming to do the draft and then simulate the next month, where I can just start from July 1st and probably get most of the same, word value out of the video or whatever you want to call it. But anyway, these are the guys we did not sign. I suppose we can go through the individual. That's kind of excessive and tedious. Well, we drafted some good guys. Trust me on that one, boys. You do not have to worry. Is there a draft log? There's got to be a draft log, right? Last draft log. Can we sort by team, maybe? Or, well, we can look at my first-round pick at least. We did not have a first-round pick, I should say, because we signed Francisco Liriano. We did have a supplementary round pick, though. We drafted Brandon Boissier. I don't know if it's a French name or not, but I decided to pronounce it like one. And you can see he's got some good potential here. I liked his hitting ratings, so I think he could be. He's another left-handed hitting outfielder, though. We have an abundance of those. Second round, we got Kyler Arenado, 2.5-star, OSA rating 3-star. Again, some good offensive ratings here, potentially, and not a bad defender either. Could potentially become a utility infielder. Third round, we went with Dawson Barr. Pretty good pitcher here, I think he's going to be, especially if our OSA projections of him are accurate. He looks like he could be a solid middle-of-the-rotation type. Jeremiah Jackson was our fourth-round pick here. You can see a contact-hitting infielder, another good defensive infielder. And then I'll show you the fifth-round pick, and then we'll move on here. Not this guy. Colt Gorman, here we go. I think actually this was our, I only drafted the first 4 rounds. Gorman, I believe, is the auto-drafted 5th-round guy, but 2.5-star according to the OSA ratings. So that is that. We can take a look at how the team is doing so far. We're 47-27, pretty solidified here in first place, 5.5 games up on the Blue Jays. And the Blue Jays do control one of the wild cards, I believe. Yeah, they control the first wild card, and they're 3.5 games, actually 4 games up on, and 5 in the loss column on the Yankees. So the Yankees are the third place, would be the third place wild card team right now, basically. We would have to fall down to them to miss out on the playoffs right now, and we're 9.5 up on them. So 9-1 in our last 10, really playing well. And it's been the offense that's gotten the job done. You can see we're first in the American League in runs scored, 307 batting average, 376 OBP. Pretty ridiculous right there. Only 13th on home runs, not really hitting the long ball that much, but still playing pretty well. We do have Jackie Bradley out right now. He has been in and out of the lineup so far, but playing very well when he has been in the lineup, and playing for the most part every day. Although, still getting spotted here and there against lefties, but on pace, or he was on pace at the time for around a 5-win season. But, of course, because he's going to miss games, that's going to be lowered a little bit. But playing very well at the point where he got hurt. But let's take a look at how the offense has done. It's been pretty ridiculous. Let's look at batting stats. And we'll just go down by position here. Blake Swihart's having an absurd year, 373 BABIP, but a 995 OPS. V-Mart having another good year at the dish. Probably not, like peak V-Mart by any means, but really couldn't ask for much more than getting this out of the 39-year-old. When we acquired him, part of the reason I did that trade was because the contract was just better for us than Rick Porcello's contract was. Porcello has another year on top of this year. This is going to be Victor Martinez's last year with us, so we get the money off the books 1 year earlier. And he's actually been a more productive player than Porcello had been for us, so that trade has worked on a multitude of levels, but anyway, Foscolina, we've called him up. He's been kind of the backup infielder and kind of struggling. He's gotten his ABs in, gotten plenty of opportunities to start, and he's hitting 235. He's striking out a ton is the problem. He's hitting 235 and his BABIP is like 370, I believe, so that is really just a testament to how much he's striking out. Yohan Moncada's been good, though. BABIP being 410, that's not going to sustain, but 900 OPS, so certainly not going to complain there. Pedroia having another good offensive year. Same thing with Bogarts. He's BABIPing only 314 actually, and he's hitting 300, so that's a really good sign. OBPing 373, I like to see that, and he's got 13 home runs. That is leading the team. And then getting into the outfield here, Mike Poppy's been all right, still playing first base there. Sam Travis, he will be back in a couple of weeks, I believe. Ryan Rosario actually got sent down pretty early on in the season. We ended up calling up Andrew Benintendi, and Benintendi's been really good for us. Rosario, only 7 ABs it looks like, but mainly against lefties, and he was actually hitting really well in AAA when he was down there. But Benintendi, he's been really good so far since we called him up. 758 OPS, pretty high BABIP though. And then Mookie Betts and Stephen Piscotty have been really, really good for us. Betts hitting 363, high BABIP though, and Piscotty hitting really well, 327, 924 OPS, and 12 homers. That's second on the team. Pitching still has been kind of a question mark for us. We've gotten good production out of Garrett Cole and Eduardo Rodriguez, as well as Stephen Wright, which has been a bit of a surprise. He's only made 5 starts. We called him up pretty recently, but he has been pitching well for the moment, so I'm going to keep him in there as long as he keeps it up. And I'm not sure if he is going to keep it up, but we will see. We ended up sending down, or demoting, I should say, Matt Barnes from their rotation. His ERA was up over 5, so he's in the bullpen right now. We actually have 1 extra reliever. We're only going 3 guys on the bench right now with Rosario, Foscolina, and Leon. We've been doing that for a while. I think we will probably... I'm not sure if we'll go back to 4 hitters because we've had so many good relievers. I mean, Tazawa struggled, but I'm not going to DFA him, I don't think, or anything. He's still got... I think he has an option. No, he has a fully guaranteed year left on his deal, so... I mean, we could try and trade him, but I don't know what we would get for him. He's really struggled, though. And then Barnes has struggled, but, other than that, it's not like we have guys. I mean, Rodriguez has been good. Watson has been really good, so we've gotten some good lefties in this year's pen. Holland has been really good, bounced back from last year's campaign. Kimball's striking out 16 guys per 9, but he's also walking almost 5 guys per 9. The BABIP's a little high, so he's kind of struggled. But Davis has been good. So, in terms of what to add to this team at the deadline, I'm not sure. I think probably another starter just because I don't really think Stephen Wright's going to keep it up. But we've got Cole and Rodriguez pretty solidified, and then we've got Price still. And then Liriano, ideally at this point, he's probably our 5th. He has been really bad this year. Striking out, strikeout to walk ratio is not even 2 to 1. So that's really bad. And, his FIP just isn't really any good. I mean, he's got a 6.30 ERA, and his opponent's BABIP is only 3.05. So he's just not that good anymore, and unfortunately we're not going to be able to get the value back on him with a qualifying offer this offseason, so we're just going to have to accept that and probably cut our losses. I'm not saying we're going to release him by any means, but probably, if not replace his spot in the rotation, at least, I should say, it's either going to be his spot or Stephen Wright's spot likely that gets replaced in the rotation, so we will see about that. Price not had a good year either, 4.24 FIP. Cole's been good, though. Been very satisfied. He's been solid every 5 days. Exactly what we wanted out of him, so that's proving to be a good trade so far. But, all right, so we've got International Amateur Free Agents Signing Day coming up. And, I just realized Sam Travis actually has to be activated today. So I think we're going to send down, we're going to send down Rosario. And then move Mike Poppy to the backup outfielder spot, and we will activate Sam Travis, put him in the everyday lineup. Maybe against righties occasionally we will get Poppy in there, but I think I want to give Travis, for the most part, the everyday job. We'll hit him. Man, our lineup has been so good, it's hard to decide where to hit him. I think he's fine hitting 8th for now. And then we'll move Poppy into the backup outfielder spots. And we've got multiple guys who can play center field. So we don't necessarily need Poppy to be a center fielder for us. I would assume they'll move Betts there when Benintendi needs a day off, and we'll get Bradley back soon. I'm not sure what we're going to do when Bradley comes back. That's when it's going to become a real roster crunch. That's when we might shorten our bullpen down, maybe DFA Tazawa or try to trade him, or send down Barnes potentially, something like that. But all right, we beat the A's again, which is nice, and have 48-27. And then we'll move forward today into the International Amateur Free Agent signing period. So let's take a look at the amateur free agents and see if there are any particular studs this year that we're going to want to go after. So certainly some guys with high demands. So we spent 16. I forgot we spent a ton of money last year, so we can't sign anyone for more than $250,000 this year. So that's going to limit our targets. But we will try to sign guys for $250,000. And one of them is going to be David Herrera. We can get him for $250K. I'm pretty sure he's got 2.5 star potential according to our head scouts. And really no one else that we could afford that we really like. Let's look at the OOTP ratings and seeing if there would be anybody worth going after. Vincent Luna. Sure. Oh, nope. Wrong guy there. I don't know why the demands just switched, but okay. Yeah, so no one really worth going after apparently. Maybe Willie Rivera, $160,000, but really doesn't even seem worth it. But why not? We will do it anyway. We've got money to spend. We are the Boston Red Sox after all. It's the best part about using the Red Sox for this kind of series is you got all the financial resources you could ever want. So you could really dip a lot of money into something like international free agents, amateur free agency. But here we go. Herrera signs. Rivera does not, so we're not going to be able to sign him. We'll keep an eye on the demands. Sometimes the demands do go down, but quite often it's not actually ends up being their demands. It will say it's their demands, and then they will end up saying they've got a contract offer for much more than that from another team. But here we go. We're continuing to roll here. We take 2 of 3 from Tampa Bay. I'm not trading Stephen Piscotty for some one-star AAA third baseman. I don't know why I would do that. I can see this year has not really fixed the bad trade offers that this game has always given you. Willie Rivera signs with Baltimore. We'll see if he comes back to bite us in the future. He could. Wow, we just put 16 runs up on Seattle. That's pretty ridiculous. And here we go. Let's see if we can continue the magic here. Another 7 runs there. 7-6 victory. Expiring personnel. Our scouting director. Ricard's been pretty good for us. I would say probably good to extend him. We'll do 3 years. I think we built a pretty good team here. I got to give him some credit. Giovanni Urshela. Nope. And let's go to the waiver wire here. Keep an eye on this. I'm not going to claim that. 3-star potential closer, I don't think. So we sweep Seattle. We scored 16 plus 7 is 23 plus 10. We scored 33 runs in those 3 games. And Ricard signs his extension. Good stuff there. Now we've got 3 games against Oakland. Let's see if the offense continues their hot streak. We do finally lose. Only put up 3 runs that game. Our second straight loss. Kimbrel looking for an extension. He is looking for big money though. I'm not sure if I'm going to re-sign him. It depends, and I haven't really looked at it yet, but it's going to depend on how much money we have coming off the books this offseason. And we are going to have some. I know we're going to have the V-Mart money coming off at the very least. So that's going to free up quite a bit of money, as well as the Liriano money. I mean, that's what almost 50 million right there. I think it's going to be like 45 million just in those 2 guys alone. Probably a little bit more than that, actually. So that's something to consider. But we'll think about a Kimbrel extension. I mean, if we don't extend him, then that's another 13 or so million off the books that we could then invest in, some sort of superstar. I don't know who's going to be a free agent this offseason, but obviously we will address that when we get there. It's not something I think too far ahead about. Of course, try to win a World Series this year. All right, so the All-Star teams were announced. Let's play this final game before the break, and then we'll take a look at the teams there. We did beat Tampa in that game 8-0, and then followed up with a 7-6 win. So, all right, Swihart is going to be the starting catcher. Cool stuff. Let's look at the actual rosters here. So Garrett Cole is an All-Star. He has that asterisk next to his name. Does that mean he's going to start? I would assume so. So that's pretty cool if he is the starter. Although it looks like Felix, well, Felix is injured, but Cole's got the higher WAR. He's had a fantastic year. Wade Davis and Eduardo Rodriguez also made it. Big ups to them. Swihart, as I already mentioned. Xander Bogaerts, to see his name in there. Mookie Betts and Stephen Piscotty. So good stuff there. In the NL, anyone of note? Some names I don't really recognize. A guy with a 4.2 TV ERA, but he's striking at 15 guys per 9. It's always good stuff to see there. But no one really of too big of an interest. All right, so let's see who wins the All-Star game, and then we'll inch closer towards the trade deadline. Start thinking more about what pitchers we could look at acquiring, maybe even look at the All-Star rosters and see. Mookie Betts wins MVP, nice. But the American League loses. He did go 2 for 4, though. So cool stuff there. Liriano, I don't know why you would think I would give you any. I mean, unless you're going to come back for like a 2. Well, okay. I mean, a $1 million, or I mean, what am I saying there? $5 million a year for a little bounce back. I mean, maybe on a 1-year deal, I would think about that, but maybe he can turn it around in the second half here. We'll see what he can do. I haven't lost total faith. Bradley's back, so this is where the roster crunch is going to happen. Travis is raking since he came back. That's nice. But all right, so I think now is where we're going to send down a reliever. Tazawa has been a little bit better. Well, not really. I guess he just had that 6-run start there. That was pretty bad. We could send down Barnes. All right, well, I think it's this is what it's come to. We're going to DFA Tazawa. It's just what we got to do. He's just not been any good this year. His WAR is negative. His peripherals aren't any good. I mean, his strikeout to walk ratio is over 3-1, but his home runs per 9 is pretty high. He's given up 7 home runs in 21 innings. So it's just nothing you can really do about it. All right, so now we are going to put Bradley back in the lineup. Even though Benintendi's been playing so well, we've got to get him in there. We'll put Benintendi as the backup center fielder, though, since his defensive ratings in the other spots still aren't any good. And we'll start him every 3rd game. I think that's pretty safe to go with. And we've still got Foscalina. We'll continue spotting him. We had him playing first base for a little bit there, too, actually, because I thought his first base defensive rating could develop a little bit. At least he's got his WAR up to a positive number, which is nice. He's still striking out a little too much, actually a lot, but anyway. So let's stop. We won't have him play first base anymore. If we need to start at first, we can go to Poppy, because he's been pretty solid for us so far this season. But the way Travis is playing right now, I don't want to spot him at all. So let's just keep the lineup how it is, and we'll do these depth chart changes. I guess they're already... Whoops. Is that already all set, I guess? We just got to take Foscalina off. Alright, there we go. Okay, so now we can stimulate forward here a little bit further. Tazawa on waivers. We'll see if he gets claimed. I'd be surprised that I did the shop player around thing and only got a couple offers for him. And they were all guys with bad contracts. I guess one was Ivan Nova, and he was just an arbitration, but he still made about $4 million, so wouldn't have provided that much salary relief for us. Piscotty, short little DL stint coming up for him. We can go to Bradley every day in left and Benintendi in center, and we can move maybe Travis up in the lineup the way he's playing right now. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll hit Bogarts 3rd, actually. We'll do Travis 5th, and then we can do Benintendi 9th. We've got... What are we doing here? Pedroia at 2nd. Moncada and Benintendi. And then we'll just have Poppy be the backup center fielder. And we'll do copy and paste. And then if Tazawa goes unclaimed, we could bring him back. He's still going to be subject to waivers here for the next couple of days, but he can at least be back on the roster. We'll see if he gets claimed, though. I don't think he's going to get claimed, like I said. But we will see. I would like for him to turn it around. I mean, he's always had a good strikeout to walk ratio in this game. I think he's been pretty solid for us for the most part. Personal message from VMart. I'm sure he wants an extension. We will think about that at the end of the year. He's pretty old, though. We've got a lot of young bats, and we're going to need places to play them. But now we are suffering some pretty big injuries here. Benintendi goes down. So that's a pretty big hit to our outfield depth. 15-day DL for him. We're going to bring up Rhino Rosario. Tucker's having a good year down there in AA, but I'm not going to... We just don't really need to rush him right now. We do have plenty of depth with our outfield at the AAA level, at least for now. I mean, maybe if we were to suffer one more injury, then I would consider calling up Tucker. But for now, because we have Rosario, I'm not concerned. We can platoon in left field with Poppy and Rosario. I think that's pretty solid. And we can just switch... Let's just switch Poppy to the backup first baseman, though. And then we will copy and paste, as always. I wish there was a short key for copying and pasting instead of having to go to the menu every time. That'd be nice, OOTP. I should probably bring that up. Anyway, let's keep checking the waiver wire. We're getting to July 24th now, so about a week away from the deadline. Rick Porcello's on waivers, I can see. Certainly not going to be claiming his contract. We sweep San Diego there. Now we got 4 games against Cleveland. Let's see if we can win this series. It's at home. Lose the first 2. That's not what I like to see. Lose the first 3. Okay. Trade proposal from the Indians. Nope. Let's go back. Jay Bruce is on waivers. He's actually not hitting too poorly this year, although I imagine the BABIP is relatively high. Well, nice. His strikeouts are down. Still, though, I don't really think we need him. Even though, like I said, we have suffered a handful of injuries now to our outfielders. But all right, David Wright's on waivers now too. That's pretty interesting. So we're a couple days away from the deadline now. This is where I'm going to start exploring trade offers. So Stephen Wright, ERA hovering around 4.33. Liriano still not really getting it together, though. I think it's gotten to the point where we could try and either move Liriano to the bullpen or send Tazawa down / DFA him. And, in conjunction with bringing in another arm. So I think acquiring a starter is definitely the top of our priority list. As for the lineup, I don't really think we need to go anywhere. I think when we get all of our guys back, we're going to maybe even have some extra bats on the bench. So I really don't think we need to go out and get another bat or anything like that. I mean, who's got the lowest OPS in the team? It's definitely Sandy Leone. And Foscaline is going to be pretty low as well, but it's still 678 for him. And then after that, it's Bradley at 731. So I really don't think we need to go out and add any hitters. So it's definitely going to be pitching. You know, if we could get another good reliever in a throw-in, I'm always open to getting another good bullpen arm. I mean, we certainly have guys who have not performed up to their caliber this year, like Carson Smith and Craig Kimbrell, and even Matt Barnes. So we'll see on that. And Paco Rodriguez's ERA is ballooned to 5.40, but he's only thrown 13 innings, and he's got 17 strikeouts. So I wouldn't be worried about him. All right, well, as per usual, the price on pitching is extremely high, as I found is something a little bit different about this year's game compared to previous years' games. Is it just costs a lot to try and go out and acquire starting pitching, especially good young starting pitching. We've been able to strike a couple of good deals, I think, especially the Garrett Cole one. I was pretty surprised that it did not take more to get him, but so far this deadline, I'm finding it very difficult to acquire, you know, good young arms. And the guy I'm mainly dangling is Austin Beck, who has really turned into one of the top prospects in baseball. I drafted him in the 3rd round. His potential was not this high when I drafted him, but I liked his ratings. I thought that he was likely to get better. And, you know, now I'm thinking of selling high on him just because the head scout likes him, but his hitting ratings I don't think are going to be that good. He's just not going to be that good of an offensive player. He'll be fast. He'll play really good defense and provide a lot of value that way. But as an offensive player, I don't really see it. So I don't really, or I should say I do feel comfortable in trading him away for a good arm, but I'm just having trouble finding that arm. So one move I know we could make is with the Seattle Mariners, and that's for Hisashi Iwakuma, who makes $13.5 million this year, but he's a free agent at the end of the year. And he's still pretty good. Does not walk a lot of guys, 1.1 walks per 9. And, you know, still a pretty solid guy. Not a top end, you know, definitely a back end guy. And I'm not sure, you know, where he would exactly fit in our rotation. He'd probably be 3rd or 4th at least, definitely behind Cole and Rodriguez. But, you know, certainly could slot in ahead of Price at this point in a playoff rotation. So he's one option. And then another guy that I was looking at was with the San Diego Padres. And it's Raisel Iglesias, who is having a really good year, a 2.84 ERA or 2.82 ERA. He's at a 2.85 last year. But the BABIP was pretty low. This year the BABIP is pretty, you know, average, right around 300. The strikeout to walk ratio is not great. He doesn't allow a lot of home runs. Is a ground ball pitcher. Of course, I'm not sure if that would translate to Fenway, but you know, he overall is a solid pitcher, but nothing spectacular. And, you know, he is one guy that we could get if we gave up Austin Beck. I'm not sure how much on top of Beck we would have to offer, though. So I know if we put him into this package that they would accept it, I'm pretty sure. Yep. Let's do it if we could hold on to Matt Barnes and preferably Doug Angeli. Alright, so let's try putting Barnes back in this package. I think I don't really mind giving him up so much. But, okay, actually they would do this just like it if we maybe tried someone except Callahan. All right, so here's the list of guys beating. All right, so it looks like out of this list, you'd probably just be better off throwing in Callahan, who is older. All right, so on the list of guys that it actually gave us, it looked like Callahan was probably our best bet for including in this package. So we're just going to do that. So this is what the trade for Raisel Iglesias would look like. And this is definitely a lot to offer. Barnes, Callahan, and Beck, and even Barnes, you know, he's by no means a throw-in. I still think he could turn into a good starter. He's actually corrected himself pretty well in the bullpen so far. And the strikeout to walk ratio is not even really that bad. So he's by no means a throw-in. And really, I mean, how much of an upgrade Iglesias is over him, I'm not 100% sure. Could we try to get a Nick Vincent in this kind of deal too? Looks like we could probably, if we included someone else. Vincent's had a bad year though, so he might not even really be worth picking up. What about someone else in their bullpen? They don't really have anyone else. So this is what the Iglesias trade would look like. Let's go to the Mariners here. So if it's Iwakuma, it's going to be Barnes and someone else. Obviously you have to weigh you know, getting Iglesias against getting Iwakuma. Iglesias would have, I think, at least 2, if not 3 more years of team control after this season. I think it's actually going to be 3 more years of team control after this year. Iwakuma would be a free agent. We would have to, you know, likely replace his spot in the offseason. And it's not like we have a lot of young pitching coming up in the farm system. So, you know, he could be difficult to replace. But we would only have to throw in a guy like Rosario or a guy like Stephen Wright to make this deal work. And I bet we could actually work that even a little bit more here. Let's go to the AAA roster and maybe throw in a guy like, I mean, I'm sure they'd have no interest in taking Rustin Castillo. Yep. What about a Devin Marrero? Nope. I mean, I don't really want to give up Stephen Wright, and I don't really want to give up right now Rosario, to be honest, especially because with all the injuries we have in the outfield right now. Rosario is going to be getting some ABs here. I mean, could we give up? I don't know who we could give up instead. We try a guy like this, Joseph Monk. I don't know if that's going to help the offer at all. Alright, so we can do Mong and one of these guys. Let's do Beeks here, 25-year-old starter. Oh, he's actually got good potential, but he's struggling in Double A right now. I don't think he's going to be any good. And I bet we could even do someone other than Mong here. Probably someone with a lower potential. Because Mong actually has a 3.5-star OSA potential. But man, it does another thing I noticed about this year's game is it seems like it takes longer to evaluate trade possibilities, which can get annoying, but you know, minor thing to complain about. I'd say overall the game is very, very good per usual. All right, here we go. So out of all these guys, we could go with, I always try to go on the older side here, maybe Trey Ball, who's 24 now. Who else? Jarrett Cozart or Jay Cozart? I should say not Jared Cozart. Could go with this guy, Chad De La Guerra. We probably don't really need him. Oh, Rowanus Elias. He's probably the obvious pick. Actually, he's pretty awful and pretty useless. This is a long list of guys, so let's just go with Elias. Oops. Actually, okay, we can do Elias and we can do one other guy. I bet we can do this guy instead of Beeks. Can we do Elias? Is he in AAA, I would assume? There we go. Yep. Okay. So Barnes and then 2 throw-ins basically for Iwakuma. So we're gonna do this deal. I think just the extra cost to get Iglesias, and obviously Iglesias has more value than Iwakuma, and yes, he would have 3 more years of team control left on top of this one. That it would be very beneficial to us moving forward. And actually, he's got a nice little contract too. He's gonna opt out of that, I would bet. But you know, I just don't really think the track record with Iglesias is good enough over a long enough period of time that I really feel confident with him moving forward, you know, to be a top-end guy. So I think just we're going to go with the Iwakuma trade for now. and we will slot him in there. I mean, we're already 62 and 35, so I just think giving up Austin Beck, he is the type of player I would like to give up in a trade like the Garrett Cole trade, as opposed to getting a guy like Iglesias. So that's kind of my logic behind that. So how many bench guys do we have? Okay, so we can fit Iwakuma on the roster right here. And we're going to put him into our rotation. He might, let's see, he's only got 10%, so he just pitched. So, who just pitched for us? It wasn't Wright, and it was not Liriano. We're going to have, I don't know if we're going to have an off day, actually. So, let's just leave Iwakuma without a role for now. And that's going to be the only move we make, I think. Let's just look at our bullpen here. Probably should have looked at bullpen pieces from Seattle to try and pick up in that trade, too, actually. But we can move Liriano to the bullpen. I'm not sure if he's really going to provide much help. We're going to DFA Tazawa, I think, at some point. He hasn't even gotten any work in lately. It really seems like. But it's not like we're going to replace Kimbrel Davis or Smith. Holland, Watson are fine. I think Rodriguez is fine, too. So, replacing Tazawa's spot, I guess, could be the move. I mean, we have the money. The question is, do we want to give up the players to get another good closer in here? Maybe like an Andrew Miller. That would be excellent. I don't know what the price tag for him is going to be, but he is a free agent at the end of the year. All right, well, this is very, very tempting. This offer for Andrew Miller would be Jamie Callahan, Doug Angeli, who I didn't really talk about, but he's kind of a guy who, look, the OSA ratings are higher on than our head scout is, so I'm pretty open to selling high on him and trying to get rid of him. He's not had a good year in the rookie league, although he's only played 18 games. And then we could just throw in Stephen Wright and get this deal done. And, man, that is so tempting. But I don't know, something about Stephen Wright makes me not want to give him up. I don't know if it's because he's been so good in real life and I'm just like falling for that. I mean, he's been solid for us. I think we're fine with Liriano as the 5 in our rotation, but I don't know. I mean, if we get an injury, I don't know who's going to be our 5th guy if we suffer an injury. And we don't have Stephen Wright. I mean, our Pawtucket rotation is horrible, if I remember correctly, unless it's gotten better. But no, yeah, it's still horrible. Callahan would be the guy otherwise, but we're going to send him away in this trade unless, if I included Stephen Wright in that deal, like maybe they don't even need Callahan. Or maybe they can take someone of a lesser value than Callahan, just because I think Callahan would slot into that kind of 6th starter for us, considering he's the only guy who's had a half respectable ERA in our Pawtucket rotation at the moment, and I'm pretty sure Portland's been equally as bad, although probably not really worth checking. So let's see what these offers look like. Okay, so we could hold on to Callahan then if we wanted to do this deal. So I'd feel a little bit better about it holding on to Callahan. That's for sure. We can include this Cuevas guy from AA. Oh yeah, he's an absolute nobody. So we could do this to get Andrew Miller. And Miller would come in. He's a free agent at the end of the year, like I said. But wow, we struck out 17 guys per 9 last year. Holy smokes. Jesus. It's not even that we need the lefty necessarily, but he's just so good otherwise. So Cuevas, Angeli, and Stephen Wright. I mean, I think this trade just makes too much sense. And I don't know if we can hang on to Angeli either in this, because I think Stephen Wright is really what they want, which is kind of surprising, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, Wright just feels like a solid arm. I mean, he's really never had like a really bad year for us in this OOTP series. He's had good years out of the bullpen, and he's had good, for the most part, samples as a starter. And yeah, we can hang on to Angeli if we want to, so we'll probably do that. We could throw in Trey Ball. We could throw in Tazawa. Ben Taylor. If we were to throw in Tazawa, I mean, we're going to DFA Tazawa anyway, but It would be nice to get the 6 million off the books for next year, but it's not like I've really lost total faith in him. Like, I think I'd honestly rather just give away this guy, Tucker Tubbs, 25-year-old first baseman, and hang on to the Zawa. So I think we'll do that. All right, this trade, I'm sorry, Stephen Wright, but this just makes too much sense. So we're going to pull the trigger and pick up Andrew Miller. And then Iwakuma is going to go into the rotation like that. So we are going to add Andrew Miller to the bullpen. And I think, honestly, we should put him in as the closer. The way his year's going compared to Kimbrel's, we can use Kimbrel as the setup man. We're going to demote Smith, and we'll use Wade Davis as the... Actually, we'll put Kimbrel in the 7th inning role. And then we're going to keep the Zawa. Yeah, this is going to be our bullpen for now, I guess. We're going to continue with the short bench, although I will say when we get to August, I will call up maybe even a guy like Kyle Tucker just to get that extra bat off the bench for the postseason. We've got Leon, Foscalina, and Rosario there, so I think, yeah, we could definitely use a lefty like Tucker. So that might be the move. And we are going to get guys back from the DL soon too, Piscotty and Benintendi, so that'll help our defensive depth. And actually, we might even DFA a guy like Taz when Piscotty or Benintendi come back. But we might also send down Rosario, although he's playing pretty well in the limited sample. So, all right, let's advance past the deadline here. So those are our 2 deadline moves. We got Iwakuma and we got Andrew Miller. Didn't give up too much in either trade, so pretty satisfied with how each of those went. And all right, that is that. So that is the trade deadline episode. I hope you guys did enjoy. The next episode will probably be a playoff episode, I think. You know, unless we had some pretty big collapse. I think it's pretty certain we're going to make the playoffs, but I obviously don't want to jinx anything. So that's going to do it. Hope you guys enjoy. Thanks for watching, and I'm out. Peace.